Trever, Aeon. I'm gonna break my foot off in your ass.
Last time, Trevor's team explored the environs of the Blighted Village, which had been taken over by goblins that were easy for him to establish dominance over. There were also a trio of ogres that he was able to intimidate into conscripted service. When it got to exploring the buildings, in the basement of the smithy he found a cracked wall that led deeper into a cavern, and that's where we're picking up today. The apothecary of the Blighted Village had a cellar with a hidden lab, and behind a locked door on a trapped pedestal was a creepy-ass book. All of Trevor's companions warned against reading what was obviously a cursed book, and Trever agreed, so he dropped it on the ground and Shadowheart happily destroyed it. Whatever secrets it had are now gone forever. Some of those goblins in the village were tormenting a gnome named Barkus on a windmill. Trever busted up their party as a display of power and control, but then he was left with the fate of the random gnome in his hands. He did decide not to just leave the gnome hanging, but he at least extracted Barkus's pack of supplies as tribute. Also while exploring the village, Trever found various notes and eventually the actual schematics for the production of a masterwork weapon. He's pretty sure they can follow the instructions presented as long as they can somehow procure some of this Susur bark, which he does not currently know how to find. First order of business, Shadowheart's familiar. She found and scribed a scroll of Find Familiar Cheeky Quasit. She suspects this will take up her familiar slot, but she can test it to be sure since Find Familiar is a ritual spell, meaning she doesn't need to sacrifice spell slots, and also once a familiar has been summoned you can unprepare the spell so it doesn't even take up one of her precious wizard preparation slots.
Recognize the tiny fiend, a quasit. Wicked creatures, often used as familiars.
Wait, you're not Illy?
As you may have noticed, the raven disappeared as expected. She asks the quasit about the undead who were in the casket where she found its scroll.
The blacksmith, the teacher, the grocer, the baker, little piggies to the butcher. So, you're Shovel's master now. Fine.
Shadowheart asks who Illy was.
Master Illy, wonderful. He tricks them, heals them, then they die. So sudden, so mysterious. Shovel comes, Shovel takes them, then we raise them, make them walk. Necromancer, your kind call him. Fun, I call him.
So then what happened to him?
Don't know. Don't care. Wait, are you horny? For the book? Illy never shuts up. Book this, book that. Blah.
Shadowheart notes she has such a way with words.
Good with tongue. Good at cutting them out, too. Tell you secret. Talk to the mirror. And remember, balsam, good for burns.
So checking out the quasit's ability, we see a claw attack with a pretty high damage for a familiar, a scare ability with a wisdom save or be frightened for 2 turns, usable once per short rest, and invisibility at will as long as she has an action to cast it. And as with the more standard Find Familiar, now that Shovel is summoned, we can prepare a different spell in that slot. Now, permanent invisibility is a very useful power. One thing it means is we can scout very safely to see what's up ahead. so let's send Shovel into the caverns to see what she can see. One thing we do have to be careful of is that if Shovel gets wet, invisibility will be broken. She can cast it again, but in general we'll try to avoid that. It doesn't look like this little stream goes anywhere anyway, so Shovel climbs back up. Walking on webs could be an issue. We have Shovel jump as much of it as she can. Thankfully, she doesn't get stuck when she lands. We definitely have some odd-looking customers in this cave. Now that's a big-ass spider, and it clearly has the ability to see invisibility. Shovel gets the fuck out of there. These other spiders can see invisibility too, but they're not quite as scary. Shovel manages to sneak around behind it without being noticed. Uh-oh, may have spoken too soon. Run! Now this is interesting. It looks like someone has a little hidey hole here. And a well bucket? Shovel can look up from here and see the telltale circular shaft of light coming from a well entrance on the surface. Time to go back and report, avoiding those perceptive-ass spiders as much as possible. Now that she knows there are spiders who can see invisibility around, Shovel is less willing to try walking on those webs. She'll even take a painful jump down into the creek to avoid getting trapped. Well, the pathing didn't really cooperate the best, but she accomplished her purchase. She climbs out of the stream, renews her invisibility, and rejoins the party.
No time to rest.
With Shovel's report, Trever decides the best course of action is probably to check out that lair Shovel found, and it seems like there's more or less a direct line from the well outside. So we actually head back topside.
Apart from an overgrowth of moss, the well looks unremarkable.
Trever strongly suspects this is the right spot, so investigate.
Dry stones line the wall. At the bottom, something gleams in the dappled light.
This is what we came for. Climb down the rope.
Keep clear of the webs, and the spiders might not notice us.
Karlak gives advice worth listening to, but also... With so many spiders about, Trever recalls they recently found an elixir of poison resistance, so he drinks that.
What's next?
We also have an elixir of vigilance, and there's definitely monsters about. I like the idea of giving that to the cleric, who can make sure we're blessed and blade warded with healing effects if she goes before the rest of the party.
Is that blood? No, never mind. Can't give up now. Just out of view. Wonder if the gods are watching me.
Based on Shovel's scouting, we can head directly to that hidden lair, sneaking past the nearby spiders.
I just want a little look.
There are 4 of these journals scattered about the room. If you have someone with the sage background with you, you can get an inspiration point for reading all 4. Trever mostly just skims them, but he gets the story of an elf who, for some reason, turned themselves into a giant spider. He thinks that's probably the one that Shovel mentioned that was in the back of the cave. Spider step boots, huh? Immunity from being enwebbed and no movement speed reduction on webs? Trever puts those on immediately. They'll be eminently helpful in this area.
Best be on my way.
Emboldened by this find, it's time to start looking for trouble.
Time to press ahead.
Among the features Trever finds as he inspects his prey, these Ettercaps are apparently infested and will spread that to any who attack them in melee or who are nearby when they perish. It can be cleared by fire or acid though, so that informs his next step. And with that handled, we no longer need to worry about any nasty infestations.
What's next, I wonder?
Shadowheart will double up on her cantrip here to see who takes a bigger hit.
I will ascend.
And Lae'zel will see if she can banish the Ettercap on that side so the rest of us can concentrate our fire in this direction.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Swift and lethal.
Ready for another round?
Never a dull moment.
I'm ready.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
This is what shield is for. Shadowheart will save herself a hit.
What should I do? Victory awaits. On the move. Can't afford to let up.
Shadowheart will now start this round off with a grouped up healing potion trick for actual healing, bless, and blade ward for all three of them, as well as a dipped in poison effect for Karlach.
Now this is my happy place.
Karlach did take a pretty big hit, so this seems like a good time for a Bear Heart Rage, and then using Reckless Attack to counter the disadvantage from being poisoned herself.
Talk to me.
Shadowheart doesn't have anything specific to do at the moment, so a doubled up cantrip it is.
I will ascend.
Lae'zel will start by trying to finish off this Ettercap with an offhand shot. And then she'll see if she can't knock that Phase Spider into the chasm with a rolling thunder arrow.
Come on, can't stay idle. Swift as my feet can carry me.
After carefully positioning himself and taking a bullshit opportunity attack on the way, so that his shove will knock the spider off the platform, Trever tries to punch and then shove.
Bye forever, pal.
And this time Trever will take advantage of his new boots to get behind the spider on the web and try punching then
Gods are
shoving
watching
again.
me.
Concentrate. Victory awaits.
Lae'zel attempts to finish off the wounded spider with both of her shots.
Need to act fast.
She didn't quite manage, but maybe Shadowheart can finish it off while also potentially damaging the Ettercap, who is now rejoining the battle.
Moving. I will ascend.
And now Karlach will get over there and occupy the Ettercap on the ground, even finish it off if she's lucky. Well, the Ettercap got its last shot in, and now it's time for Karlach to try to finish this.
I've got a long road ahead. How much farther can I go? Better than nothing.
I'm ready. Whatever it takes.
Oh, I could go for a good meal.
Let's get going.
Attention!
No one's stopped me yet. Open up. Very well.
This looks to be something about that necromancer's apprentice. Well, we found and destroyed the book already, so Trever doesn't care much about this.
No traps, please. No one back home will ever believe this. Time to press ahead.
As the team prepares to assault the gigantic Phase Spider Matriarch, Trever turns Lump's warhorn over in his hand. If there's any time to make use of his ogre conscripts, this is probably gonna be it.
Conrus, breathe deep and move.
Trever reconsiders throwing the first alchemist fire himself. Shadowheart drank that elixir of vigilance for a reason. Let's let her begin the festivities to give everybody else the best opportunity to join the assault with the most options for an opener. Shadowheart waits for the right moment, for the Phase Spider to be wholly supported by the webbing, and...
Better get to work. Oh, hells.
What to do?
Only Trever wasn't spotted at the outset, so... he sneaks up, squints to make sure the web is in fact burning, and heaves an oil barrel right next to the matriarch.
Good idea. I think.
For a massive first chunk of damage. Shadowheart uses her remaining bonus action to make sure Karlach and Lae'zel start with Bless and Blade Ward. This looks like a good time for Lae'zel to shoot another rolling thunder arrow, potentially knocking both of the regular Phase Spiders off the ledge. She considers a fire arrow, but Trever is also on the web, so she opts for an acid arrow instead. Shovel's first instinct is to renew invisibility, but she remembers they can see that, so she tries to scare one of the spiders.
Still on my feet.
The ogres appeared further back than Trever would have hoped for, but they're here. Meanwhile, this spider is just primed to be shoved into a chasm.
On my way.
Let's cover fire, baby. Want another?
Karlach raged instead of jumped, which meant she got slowed down enough she couldn't quite reach melee range, but she has plenty to throw.
Good idea, Carla.
I guess the ogres are taking the most direct path that they can to the matriarch, given that one of the webs is burned away. At a single hit point remaining, let's see if Shadowheart can finish this spider off with an offhand shot.
Heading there.
Nothing else she has can reach the giant spider, so she ends up dashing for the rest of her turn.
Survival is all that matters.
Trever wants to get down, but it will have to wait at least one turn no matter what, so he goes ahead and casts Featherfall now. Leaving his action available, at least to throw something at the spider's direction.
No hesitation.
Shovel will also dash this round.
I am fury. I am death. My path be true.
Lae'zel can't reach the Spider Matriarch with her current weapon, and she doesn't want to relegate herself to the low ground, so she takes this moment to switch to her longbow so she has a wider field of control. Karlach does need to dash this round, which does unfortunately mean her rage will end, but I do end up learning that this counts as a voluntary ending of rage with respect to her reason's grasp, so she will get the 15 temporary hit points. It looks like the ogres have gotten themselves entangled with the tiny little spiderlings, which is an amusing amount of overkill maybe. But honestly, that's a lot of attacks that could be coming our way instead, and they bite with poison, and attacking them provokes a nasty reaction from the matriarch, so we shouldn't just dismiss how helpful this actually is.
Onward.
Shadowheart dashes to catch up with Karlach and then hits them both with a greater healing potion. Karlach mostly benefits from the associated buffs, but Shadowheart really does need the increased healing.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Now the landscape has changed a bit. Trever pulls off a maneuver that will be much easier once he does eventually have extra attack. But for now he can simulate that with a speed potion. Then he throws down an alchemist fire to create a burning surface. Then a smoke powder barrel onto the burning surface he just created. Shovel isn't going to step into a fire, so she just goes invisible.
Victory awaits. Make way.
Lae'zel takes a gamble on the webs to get closer into range, and gets stuck, so she'll just pop off a fire arrow.
My turn.
Karlach renews her rage because this is no time to conserve resources, and then goes over to do a lacerate attack on the Spider Matriarch. The ogres continue harassing the spiderlings. Good job, guys. That's only partially sarcastic.
Got to move.
Turns out Shadowheart has a slightly better chance to hit with her arrows right now, so double hand crossbow time it is.
Is ever easy.
I am fury. I am
Nothing will stand in my way.
Lae'zel wants to get away, so first Trever rages and goes to provoke an attack of opportunity, since he's at full health.
Swift and lethal.
So Lae'zel can get a shot off safely, turning Sharpshooter off because the Matriarch has high defense.
Where do I go
And
from
then
here?
Trever tries to finish her off with his fists.
Time to strike.
Seems as good a time as any for Lae'zel to use her second wind to regain some hit points.
Smell blood. I've got it.
Karlach just runs right through the fire and throws an axe up at the Spider Matriarch.
1, 2.
The ogre buddies are still working on those spiderlings. Shadowheart has to maneuver around the pillar to get a line of sight, but she does get to try Toll the Dead on the Matriarch. Holy crap, what a great time to do max damage. Shovel is pretty much just gonna move towards the remaining spiderlings.
Another fight. Let's go. Best be on my way.
But Trever manages to reach them with an action left to punch.
Time to strike. No time to waste.
And if Lae'zel makes this shot, she can end it.
The deal is done. Shall we extend our contract?
You know what? Trever gave them an ultimatum, and they came through on their end. They can now go and spread his reputation. He's happy with that. So, he releases them from their duty and wishes them well.
Without so much as a lick of that mouth-watering meat of yours.
I have not seen this interaction before. I'm actually going to break character for a little bit, for my own curiosity. For the official record, Trever does not do this. But I want to see what happens if we allow it. One lick.
Consider me satisfied.
What path lies before me? happening here?
Whenever the wearer of the Poisoner's Robe casts a spell that deals poison damage, the robes passively add 1d4 to that. Shadowheart has chromatic orbs, so she could potentially use this, but she'd have to give up her current armor, and that's no good. Trever wears clothing, but has no poison spells, so it'd be useless for him. I may as well send it to Gale. He or Will could potentially end up casting poison spells.
Don't mind if I do. I feel a breeze. I wonder what's down there.
This dark amethyst would have opened up the necromancy of Thay if we hadn't destroyed that book. Trever just picks it up to sell it, and he'll likely toss it off a cliff somewhere once he realizes no one will buy it. And we discover the Whispering Depths waypoint. We are also very close to level 5, which is pretty exciting. Now that we've explored this whole area as far as we can tell, I'll do the random looting and rejoin you at the Grove.
There you are, my friend.
Trever is pretty shocked. Is Astarion drunk?
I have drunk. Not alcohol, of course. A bear. He took a little of my blood. I took all of his.
Whatever works for him. Trever supposes he doesn't need human blood after all.
You're comparing plonk to vintage wine. You can make merry with either, but they're not the same. But Cazador fed me rats and bugs. And when you're used to drinking from a sewer, even plonk is a marked improvement.
Trever doesn't really get it. What's the difference? As long as it's not diseased or something, blood is blood, right?
Not at all. Blood is life essence. And some creatures have so much more life than others. Cazador gave me just enough to keep me, well, alive, for lack of a better word. But never more than that. Still, that was the past. I'll never have to grovel for him again.
Trever notes that he sounds pretty confident about that.
Well, look at us. We've never been more powerful. And being able to walk in the sunlight opens a lot of doors for me. Maybe some coffins, too. No, these tadpoles are a gift I intend to use to the fullest. You should do the same.
What's on your mind?
Trever wants to know what Gale intends to do if he ever loses control of that orb.
If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls.
Scratch seems to have something to say, so Karlach will
Soldier.
immediately see to that.
Look where Herman, is that you?
The dog holds a well-chewed ball in his mouth.
Hand it over, boy.
All right. It's only fair that you enjoy it too. But if you feel like throwing it, I wouldn't mind that at all.
And of course she's going to pet Scratch. And you know, if a dog brings you a ball, you throw it for him. We did find more infernal iron in that smithy, so we should check in with Damon about that.
Looking for steel? I have, well, something close.
Trever asks if Damon is able to make another upgrade yet.
Hold on to it for now. I haven't quite worked out a schematic for a new design. Might take me a bit of crunching to figure out something suitable. If it can even be done. But it's my top priority, believe me. Anything to take my mind off, well, everything.
During our looting, Trever found his first elixir of the Colossus. This will likely be his default daily elixir as long as he has access to one. It will increase his size, and that will stack with the Giant's Rage, and give him a d4 extra damage on weapon damage. Now, I don't think that will apply to unarmed attacks, but we'll see if it applies to thrown or improvised weapons. Meanwhile, advantage on strength checks will make shoving and throwing enemies around much more reliable, and advantage on strength saving throws doesn't hurt anything. It's also supposed to increase your carrying capacity by 25%. However, Trever is a human, and humans already get that benefit, and the way carrying capacity buffs stack is you get the largest of the benefits. Since the human benefit and the elixir of the Colossus benefit are the same, we only get it once, so my carrying capacity did not go up. We are nearly ready to continue on towards Goblin territory, but I am annoyed at this unexplored area right around here, so we're just going to make a quick pass around the Blighted Village area before we sign off for the episode.
I'll take that.
We're really getting a good view of the nearby temple from here, and we can clearly hear those drums coming from the area. Alright, so next time we will be crossing this bridge, we'll meet up with Saza, and into Goblin territory we go.